And it's day 3 of the 2018 Delaware Disc Golf Challenge. We're covering the third card today from the Men's Pro Open. To see who will move up to finish strong, stay tuned as Disc Golf Monthly starts now. Welcome to Day 3 coverage at the 2018 Delaware Disc Golf Challenge. We're taking a creative detour this month covering the third card, as the first and second card are receiving coverage from other creative productions. We're about ready to start, so let's take a look at who we'll be covering on the third card. Leading on the third card, we have a tie between Calvin Heimberg from Safety Harbor, Florida, shooting a 130, and also shooting a 130 is Silver Lot from Parnama, Estonia. In third place on the third card, we have Michael Johansson from Denver, North Carolina, shooting a 131, and he's also tied with Andrew Fish, who is from Baltimore, Maryland, and Andrew also shot a 131. Well, it looks like we're going to have some exciting coverage ahead of us with these 4 talented players. We're going to take a quick break, so don't go away, we'll be right back. And here we are at the start of third round coverage from the 2018 Delaware Disc Golf Challenge from the third card. And on top we have Calvin Heimberg with a 130 tied with Silver Lot with a 130. Michael Johansson and Andrew Fish are both tied for 131. And here we are with Calvin with his first drive on hole 1.
Oh yeah.
He lets that go perfectly.
Silver Lot.
And this fairway is laid out. As you can see, it starts off relatively straight. As you make your way down the fairway, it takes a wind, a bend to the right. So you're looking to throw a straight shot that turns over as you get further down the fairway. Get you a good approach to the basket.
Oh yeah.
It's really important once you make it around that bend to stay out of the rough. It's really thick.
Johansson.
Michael Johansson. And he goes with a low cut shot that turns to the right. That worked very nicely for him. Here's Andrew Fish leading out the third card. He throws a high shot very fast, turns over nicely. Here's Calvin. He's on the edge of the rough. You can see right there how that makes it difficult when you're on the rough to get out and get a good shot, but looks like that worked for him. He could have a look at a 3 from where he is. Andrew Fish is going to get unlucky. He's going to kick off that tree. Here's Silver Lot with his second shot. And that put him right at the edge of the basket. That's a really great approach shot. Here's Calvin with his third throw. He's going to go with a jump putt-like approach shot. There's Michael Johansson. He records his first birdie of the round.
That second shot.
Calvin's going to finish with a par. There we have it after basket 1. And we're on basket 2. This is a par 3, 380 feet. And this is basket 2. And you're just looking for a backhand, right-hand backhand hyzer shot, just to bend around that gap and take you right to the basket. You need a perfect amount of turn on this. It looks like Michael Johansson just got it. With a good skip, that'll get him right to the edge of the basket. Calvin just gets unlucky. Just does not get enough turn. Kicks off one of those early trees. Here's Andrew with his first shot. Andrew, let's go. Looks like a little early, but he snuck through, and that worked nicely for him. Here's Calvin. He's just trying to get a good placement shot so he can get his 3. He's going to try and turn over a sidearm shot, but it gets knocked down again. And he wheezes Ray right to the basket. That was amazing. Silver with his second shot. He's going with a sidearm shot. Hopefully that doesn't skip too far away. Andrew just comes up a little short. Michael Johansson. And he goes with a jump shot like release. A jump shot like release, but it just doesn't have enough on it, and it chains out. There's Silver. He just makes it over the cage. So that's 3 pars and a bogey. As we move on to basket 3. This is a par 4, 660 feet. Silver goes with a sidearm shot. Looks like he got knocked down by some overhanging trees there. There's Michael Johansson with his drive.
There you go.
He keeps that relatively straight and low.
Baker?
Looks like that slight elevation with the fairway just caught up with his disc and took it down. Andrew Fish. And he keeps that straight as an arrow. He gets it right over that crown. It looks like Calvin has the longest drive out of the group. And Silver gets a little too much turn on that. Knocks him into the rough. There's Michael Johansson. He was getting some nice turn off that, but it just was too high and it got knocked down by some overhanging branches. Here's Andrew. And he gets that right, misses everything, and almost went in. Looks like it went down a little bit. He might have to have a challenging uphill putt from there. There's Calvin. Another putt for Calvin. Silver got stuck in the rough. He's trying to get out of here with a turnover sidearm shot. It gets him right to the basket. There's Calvin going for his first birdie of the round. And he just does not apply enough pressure to the chains with that, and it just bounces out. There's Andrew going for his first birdie of the round. And it stays in there for him. There's Silver shooting for par. And that just crosses right over that rim and goes in. So Silver now has a 1-stroke lead over Andrew Fish. Andrew getting that birdie. And here we are in basket 4. This is a par 4, 675 feet. This hole plays a lot like the last hole, but this hole won't have that elevation drop surrounding the basket. Andrew goes with a shot that just doesn't look like it turned enough for him. It stalled out and faded back. As you make your way down the fairway, it's a much longer, more narrow fairway as you approach the basket. Silver gets a lot of distance off that. And it looks like he may have gotten a little too much distance. It puts him to the edge of that rough. It's going to make it hard for him to have to play around that. The fairway is more to the right of where his disc landed. Michael goes with a very high cut shot with a turnover. Here's Calvin with his first drive. Had a lot of speed on it. If it keeps turning, that'll work really nicely for him. He's going to get caught up in that rough. So he's also going to have to play out of some heavy rough to get to the basket. Andrew's not happy with that. Looks like he may have held on a little too long. Here's Michael with his second throw. And that got him through everything. So he's going to have a clear shot from there for a birdie. Here's Silver with his second throw. Going with a turnover shot with a sidearm again. And this one gets a little too high in the air, kicks off some vegetation, knocks him back to the edge of the rough again. Here's Calvin. He's trying to play out of the rough with his second shot. And now with Michael Johansson getting that birdie, he's tied with Silver for first place with a 144. Let's move on to basket 5. This is a par 5. It's 690 feet. This is the first of 2 par 5 holes that we have on the front nine. Michael Johansson with his drive. And this is, as you can see, it's a slight uphill shot. It's a very steady gradient as this on your way to the basket. The fairway bends to the right a little bit, and it snakes back to the left. And as you make your way up the fairway to the basket's at the top of a mound, which has some trees that are surrounding the basket. It's a very challenging, from drive to putt, this is one of the most challenging holes on the course.
Work all day.
Silver with his drive. He made it through everything.
Great shot, Silver.
Looks like he may have Silver may have a straight shot with his second shot to the basket. There's been a number of eagles made on this hole, this par 5 hole, this weekend. So let's see if one of these guys can add to that list. All the years that Disc Golf Monthly has been covering this tournament, we've never seen an eagle in this hole, so it'd be really great to see one today. Here's Calvin with his second throw. He's got a really great challenge in front of him, that tree being right in front of his lie. He keeps that low, and that skips right to the edge of the basket. Silver's going with a sidearm shot. It looks like that's going to get a little too much turn. I'll take him away from the basket. Andrew has these trees right in front of his lie. He's going to have to play around them. He plays straight through them. Wow, and he gets right up there. Have a great look at a birdie shot from there for birdie. Silver, he's going for an eagle. And it just comes up short, unfortunately. Here's Calvin. He's also going for an eagle. He's very focused. And he just gets that nicely in the air. It just drops right into the basket after hitting the chains. So that's the first eagle that Disc Golf Monthly has ever witnessed at the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge on hole 5. That's an amazing finish for this hole by Calvin Heimberg. And everybody else birdies. As we now have a three-way tie for first place. Everybody has a 148. Andrew's right behind with a 149. We're moving on to basket 6. This is a par 4, 625 feet. Calvin gets that right through that gap perfectly. And it just hyzers back very nicely. You don't want to go too far. You want to have your shot hyzer out if you're going with a backhand shot and you're right-handed.
There you go. Nice shot.
Michael gets that a little too deep. It didn't hyzer back soon enough for him, and it really didn't hyzer out much at all. Andrew gets right through there. See if it hyzers back soon enough, and it does. But he's at the edge of the fairway. We'll just have to see what that leaves him with. From depending upon where your shot ends up on your drive, will determine whether you have a clean look at the basket. We'll see what everybody's faced with here. Silver's got these trees right in front of his lie. He goes with a sidearm shot, turns it over nicely. Doesn't look like it faded back enough for him, so he's going to have a challenging putt for a 3. Michael Johansson. He turns that over perfectly. Gets just enough, may have come up just a little bit short, but that got him great distance. He avoided those trees that you see right in front of his. And Andrew even gets a skip at the end. That was a perfect sidearm shot for Andrew Fish. And here's Calvin Heimberg's next shot. Goes at a very high turnover shot. Looks like he got struck out by some overhanging branches. Here's Silver going with another sidearm shot.
Oh.
Looks like that got struck down. It may have been a good thing. It may have took him too far away. Hyzered out away from the basket. If it hadn't hit that, Calvin goes for a jump putt like shot. Michael's going for birdie, and he gets it. That's Michael Johansson's 4th birdie of the round. Andrew makes his 3rd birdie of the round. But Michael is now in sole possession of first place. And now we're left with the second place tie for second place here between Andrew Fisk, Calvin Heimberg, and Silver Lott. As we move on to basket 7, this is a par 3, 370 feet. And this is a downhill shot. It favors a turnover shot from right-handed players. Also a sidearm shot if you're right-handed. As the basket's to the right of the tee pad.
Yeah, no, that'll work. Nice job.
Calvin's going with a sidearm. Got a little too much turn too soon, and he kicked off that early tree. Here's Silver with his drive. He's also going with a sidearm. Well, Silver avoided that first tree, but as he made his way down the fairway, seemed to get a lot of turn on that. It's took him away from the fairway, or the where the disc is, basket is rather. Calvin weaves his way through those trees with that approach shot. It's Michael Johansson with his second shot. He just lays up. He'll take his 3. And Calvin saves a par. As Michael Johansson gets a par, he hangs on to that 1-stroke lead. We're moving on to basket 8. This is a par 5, 670 feet. This is our second par 5 on the front 9. As you can see, this is an uphill shot. Very steep incline as you go up that hill. When you make it up the hill, the fairway is going to wind around to the right, and the basket is at a elevated pin position. It's been pushed back. It's further away than it was previous years.
Shot.
As it gets out a little low, it gets cut out early. But he got a really great straight shot with that. He's right in the middle of the fairway.
Go back. There you go.
So Andrew's going to go with a sidearm turnover shot here from the looks away. He's holding that disc. And that turns over for him. And it just has a little cut fade at the end. Michael Johansson's going with a turnover shot with his backhand. Looks like he got kicked off some trees and pushed out to the left. And Calvin weaves through all those trees. Looks like he may be right at the edge of the basket with that second shot. That's amazing. Andrew keeps that low. And he turns that over and he gets right at the edge of the basket. Got to see how close that gets him. He may have a putt from there. Silver's again going with a turnover sidearm shot.
Yeah.
Calvin's right at the edge of that basket. Silver went too far on his third shot. Here he is with his fourth shot trying to get birdie. And he just keeps that in the air long enough. He gets his third birdie of the round.
Ironically, Rock Hill doesn't have any rocks in it.
Outside of the fake rock they put on hole 1.
Here's Andrew. Trying to save par. And that comes right down. I'm sorry, Andrew was saving birdie there with that putt. He made his birdie. And now we're tied at 159. As we we close out the front 9 on basket 9. This is a par 4, 555 feet. It's a fairway, as you can see. You get down to where that group of trees is down there. The fairway's going to take a dogleg to the right.
Oh, that's so early. Get through. Get through.
And Andrew turns that over too soon. We'll have to see if he gets lucky as he makes his way down there. If he'll stay out of that rough. The rough's very hard to get out of the rough with these fairways throughout the course. This hole's no different. Probably the biggest challenge on this first throw on this hole is not even so much the distance you're going to get, but really the placement that you want to be just beyond that grouping of trees in the center of the fairway. Here's Michael Johansson with his drive.
There you go.
Nice call.
Yeah. Nice shot.
Looks like Michael got it right to where you want to be.
Yes.
Woo. Nice shot, Biff.
Michael with his second shot.
Right shot.
And he is in contention to get a birdie with that excellent approach shot. Here's Silver, his second throw. Again, going with a turnover sidearm shot.
Yeah. Nice. Great shot.
Yeah, Fish.
And Andrew Fish just lands one in way outside the circle. That was a fantastic putt. That's his fifth birdie of the round. There you have it, Michael Johansson, Andrew Fish, tied at 162 with those two birdies. We're moving on to basket 10. This is a par 5, 675 feet. This is a hole at just a winding fairway, right up until you get right to the basket. This is so much skill is going to go into this. It's not enough to keep your drive straight. You just have to have it hyzer turn if you're a right-handed thrower with backhand right at the right time. It's like Michael Johansson just did what he needed to do right there. And Silver goes with a very gutsy turnover sidearm shot. It's very high in the air. We have to see where that left him. It's hard to really have a lot of success with right-handed turnover sidearm shots here. You need a lot of room for your disc to turn for it to be able to make that angle. But it seems to be working nicely for Silver. Andrew's drive's laying right at the amateur tee. Threads that through that gap perfectly. Here's Calvin with his second shot.
Great shot. Hold that. No fake.
Wow. And that is a fantastic putt from Andrew Fish. Silver's putt kicks off some of those branches and just gets deflected away. Here he's shooting for par. He just gets it straight across, lands right into the chains and drops in. So we still have a tie for first place between Michael and Andrew. As we move on to basket 11, this is a par 4, 600 feet. Here's Andrew at the box. And he just gets that perfectly down the middle. No turn at all. Perfect shot. Michael Johansson trying to answer that.
Yeah, that works. Good shot.
And he gets a kick. We'll have to see if that's a lucky kick or not. Here's Calvin with his drive.
Come on. Yeah, no, it's good. Nice shot, Calvin.
Calvin gets it right down the middle.
Oh, good kick.
Wow. Silver gets a fantastic kick. He let go of that a little too early, but fortunately had enough spin on it, hit it right on the right side of that tree where it propelled it forward and got him pretty far down the fairway.
All right.
Wow, and he just snakes it through that gap with that. He's going to that with his second shot with that side-on turnover shot all day. There's Andrew with his second shot.
Shot.
And Michael Johansson makes the birdie. So Mike's going to be in sole possession of first place now with a 169. Andrew, Calvin, and Silver could only manage par. So Andrew's one stroke behind now. And we're moving on to basket 12. This is a par 4, 520 feet. And here we have Michael Johansson leading off the group with his drive.
Good move.
And this way you have to keep your drive relatively straight until you get about 300 feet down the fairway. Then the fairway drops at the lower elevation and it winds to the left. You see Andrew with his drive. It's really important to avoid the rough off to the left of the fairway. It's very treacherous, it's very thick, it's hard to get out of. And here is Calvin with his drive. And everybody managed the fairway very well so far off the tee. Here's Silver Lot Looks like he's going some kind of forearm roller here. He is. And that just straight out of his hand, didn't go in the direction he wanted. It rolled right, left rather, too soon. There's Andrew. He's making his way down the fairway.
Good job. Good enough.
Server's getting unlucky. He landed right over there in the rough where you don't want to be. We tried to get out with a sidearm shot, and as you can see, that just didn't work for him. Here he is on his third throw. He tries to turn that over. It looks like he made it through that gap nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice fish.
Andrew Fish pours it in. For the 3. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on Micah Johansson. He has to also make the birdie here, otherwise we're going to be tied. And here he is.
Yep.
And a relatively short putt, although that's a dangerous putt as it's downhill. So Micah Johansson maintains that one-stroke lead, getting that birdie, along with Andrew Fish and Calvin. As we move on to basket 13, this is a par 3, 360 feet. This is the third of 4 par 3 holes on the course. This is starts off relatively straight, goes downhill, winds to the left.
Yep.
Looks like that Michael showed us the way to get there.
Whatever on this hole.
Andrew didn't quite make it all the way down the hill. He got knocked down early. Looks like he got knocked down just at the end. There's Calvin, furthest out of the group. He's going to go with a straddle putt. And he came really close to making it. Here's Andrew trying to save par. And it just comes up short and bounces off the rim and rolls away. It's very unfortunate. So if Michael can make his putt, and he does, Michael now has a 2-stroke lead over Andrew Fish. Moving on to basket 14, this is also a par 3, 370 feet. And unlike the last hole, this hole is entirely flat with the elevation.
Throw a crank to do that.
And that last hole, that was the first bogey for Andrew.
Good. Stay high. Good shot. Good shot.
This whole group throughout this round has been managing the course very nicely. Other than Andrew's bogey on that last hole, there's only been 2 other bogeys this round by Calvin on hole 2 and 7. Here's Andrew with his drive. He gets a little more turn on that than he would have liked to have. He's got a long putt for birdie here. It just comes up short, but he'll get his 3 from there. Michael Johansson trying to extend his lead here with another bird, getting a birdie, and he makes it. So he'll have a 3-stroke lead now over Andrew. Here's Calvin also going for a birdie.
There you go.
So now Calvin with that birdie is caught up to Andrew. They're both tied at 180 now, and Michael Johansson has a 3-stroke lead over the two of them. We're moving on to basket 15. This is a par 4, 440 feet. Or rather, this is hole 15.
Sit.
Here's Michael with his drive. As you can see, this is an uphill shot. It's a very tough hole. Sometimes players will come out over that walking path. They'll just try to play out over that and have their disc. They'll throw a right-hand backhand, and they'll try to have it hyzer back in, but it's really difficult to do that.
Wow. Oh.
Silver has an amazing drive. Here's Andrew with his second shot. It's at very high in the air.
Nice shot.
That just turned over nicely for him. There's Calvin. Looks like he's going with a sidearm here. Gets too much turn on that too soon. It just kicks off that tree.
Nasty.
Michael gets a really great turnover shot. And Silver just manages with that shot perfectly. Calvin's just going to lay up. Oh, and Mike's just denied a birdie. Just didn't hyzer back enough to go into the change and drop in. Andrew could take it back a stroke here if he makes this, and he does. So we're going to have a 2-stroke difference between Michael Johansson and Andrew Fish at the end of the round here. And also, Andrew's now in sole possession of second place. Back to 2 strokes behind Michael Johansson. We're moving on to basket 16. This is a par 4, 610 feet. This hole is very tough off the tee. As you can see, you have that narrow gap and that thick tree just up ahead off to the right. And then there's 2 trees off to the left. It's a really tight gap. You must get through there to even consider getting a birdie in this hole. And there's 2 straight drives that made it right through that gap. The group's looking good so far. Let's see what Michael has to offer. And that's straight down the fairway, but it kicks off that tree at the very end. And the group does very well off the tee. So Andrew with his second shot. He had a little bit to deal with that tree there right in front of you, but he just got around that and he hyzered it right in. Have a good look at a birdie from where he is from there. And let's see, we have Michael Johansson now.
Great shot.
Good, Mike.
Yeah. You got it. Good shot.
Good up.
Silver going for birdie.
Yeah.
And he makes it smack dead heart of the chains. That's his 5th birdie of the round.
Yeah.
And Andrew saves par with that putt. So we still have a 2-stroke difference between Michael Johansson and Andrew Fish, 185 and a 187. Silver is now moving to 3rd place, tied with Calvin for a 188 with that birdie. As we move on to basket 17, this is a par 5, 860 feet. So even though there's a 2-stroke difference between Michael Johansson and Andrew Fish, this hole is really tough. It's very tricky. This could easily find ourselves in a tie for the top spot on this card after this hole with this very tricky hole. But everybody, and Andrew, he gets down the fairway very nicely. Slow, very straight, very low drive. Let's see what Michael has. Michael, his drive turns over a little bit. Let's see what kind of view that'll leave him with the fairway. Calvin gets an unlucky kick off that tree. It pushes him away from the fairway. Server's going with a sidearm shot again. He turns that over. Didn't hear anything, so it sounded like he made really good distance with that second shot. Here's Michael Johansson.
Hit the fairway on a second shot on this
And he's right at the edge of that tree stump. Calvin's been way out there in the rough, pretty deep. It's going to be hard to get out of this. He tries to get out with an overhand shot. It just doesn't work for him. Andrew looked like he may have been trying to turn that over, but it just didn't work. It hyzered out on him at the end. He's in some pretty deep rough there with that lie.
Come on, baby, get over. Get over.
I can see there's the basket. It's on the mound. And Calvin's right at the edge of that mound. And he lands right on top of it. Some view for Silver as well. And he makes it up on the mound as well. And it's like everybody made it up. Mike Johansson's just at the very edge of it. He almost makes it. That was amazing. That would have been a birdie. So at this point, there's going to be no birdies for the group on this hole. So no difference. Everybody makes par on this hole. So going one hole to go, Michael Johansson has that 2-stroke lead over Andrew Fish. And Silver and Calvin are still tied. Silver goes with a backhand. Looks like he let go of that a little early. Hires it off into the rough on him. Here's Andrew with his drive. And he got the right amount of turn on that. It's just going to glide right down there at Heiser end. He's going to be in a great position to lay up and get a birdie on this hole with that drive. That was fantastic. Here's Michael Johansson with his drive. And he was flirting with that tree. But just hydrated out and he missed it, and a good skip, and he's down in a great position for a birdie as well. Calvin, wow, amazing. Just got kicked down by a tree at the very end. He may have had the longest drive out of the group if it had stayed away from that tree. Calvin goes with a sidearm turnover shot. Didn't hear anything, so he could be a great second shot. Let's see if that gives him a look at a birdie. Andrew Fish has an awkward lie where he landed up right at the edge of that tree. Have to see if that hyzered back for him.
Come on, baby. Look left.
Michael Johansson, that shot was just coming in and it kicked off that, looked like that rock just kicked right off and knocked him back.
Come on, get there, get there. Ah.
Server has a look at a birdie. He just misses it. Does an amazing comeback. In spite of missing that birdie shot.
Get up.
And Mike just gets denied. Kicks off the rim of the basket. Calvin overshot the basket. He's playing back. Then he saves par. So we round out the round. Third card, Michael Johansson with a 194 over Andrew Fish, who has a 196, and Silver and Calvin with 197. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And there you have it. Michael Johansson climbs to the top of the card from starting out in third spot. Michael held off Andrew Fish by shooting 9 birdies and no bogeys. Well, that's all the time we have for this month's show. Join us next month for another exciting edition of Disc Golf Monthly, the show that takes you one step closer to the sport of disc golf.